Suicide Squad number 22, written by Alice Cott, art by Patrick Zurcher. So, last issues were just kind of rebuilding the team from the ground up, and apparently they made some sort of deal. But there's always been this thing that we were glancing to 17 days later of something happening in Las Vegas, and this is where we finally see what's going on. And it's kind of structured as if this were a jumping on point because we introduce each of the new characters here. So we're introduced into Las Vegas where there's apparently going to be some mass hypnosis event that Waller is picked up on and is sent in the Suicide Squad to contain. We see James Gordon Jr. is back behind the computers with Waller, acting as an analyst. We see Deadshot and Harley at the craps tables, just kind of messing around, having fun, while still keeping an eye on things. Eventually, they are greeted by one of the club's security things saying, sir, ma'am, you're going to have to come with me. So we then see outside of Vegas, there's a billboard with a scantily clad woman on it, and a bunch of people hacking into it saying like, yes, once we launch this device, all of the people in Las Vegas will give in to their most basest true selves. Like, they won't be able to resist. And the unknown soldier pops out, and he's like, all right, well, you guys are going to tell me everything or else I'm going to shoot you. And they're like, never, you capitalist pig. So he shoots one of them and says, I'm not kidding around here. Like, I am going to shoot you. So 5 minutes later, he gets the info from them and tells them, all right, here's the deal. You're going to drive back to your headquarters. I put a tracer in your car. And when you get there, we'll know where to attack. Try anything funny, I'll kill you. And he radios in and tells Waller, yeah, the hypnosis is happening through billboards. It's some sort of anarcho-terrorist group doing it, so they're on their way to the headquarters now. And Waller's like, all right, well, we've got the tracker on. King Shark and Cheetah are going to be joining in soon. Deadshot, Harley Quinn, how you doing? And Harley's like, yeah, Deadshot's beating the crap out of this security guy, asking questions about what he knows about it. And as he's basically torturing this man, blowing his kneecap off, the security guy refuses to say anything, but accidentally lets slip something about a guy or a person called the Mother. So at that point, we see the two guys that Unknown Soldier sent back are talking to the Mother, and the Mother's like, well, we could have been caught because of your carelessness, but what is your spirit animal telling you to do next? And she's just kept in shadows. So at that point, Deadshot reports like, yeah, okay, the Mother is the leader of the group. That's all I got. Like, this guy didn't know much. And he's like, all right, that's fine, whatever. So at this point, James Gordon Jr. is like, hey, did we ever figure out what happened to let, like, Belle Reeve kind of, like, crash last issue? It was hacked into. Did we ever figure that out? And I was like, shut up, we're not worried about that now. So it says Deadshot is to meet with the soldier in this room of the hotel where the second switch is. Meanwhile, King Shark is positioned over top of their headquarters. He just jumps out of a helicopter and dive bombs in. And it's right as the kid says, like, oh, well, my spirit animal says. And then King Shark crashes into the room and says, hello, my name is Trixie and I like to party. And I don't get why, but it's a funny moment. So at that point, King Shark's facing head-to-head with the Mother, and he's like, don't activate those billboards. And she's like, I already did 2 minutes ago. And King Shark's like, crap, hey, the billboards are already activated. And Waller's like, yeah, no, everyone's tearing themselves apart in Vegas, but we can't worry about that now. We got to find a way to stop them. So Unknown Soldier's cleaning up all the wreckage that he's causing. Meanwhile, Deadshot and Quinn have made their way to where the second switch is, but because all this stuff has already started, they're too late. And it turns out that the whole big thing that Mother was planning was that a lot of people in Vegas commit suicide. It's just got a higher than average rate. And so she took all the bodies of all the people who committed suicide and is basically gooping them all together to become a giant, like, hulking monster beast that is going to attack Las Vegas. And Deadshot's like, they call up Deadshot and it's like, hey, we've got a new target for you. You need to converge. It's coming straight towards you. And he's like, all right, how big is this thing? Because you make it sound pretty bad. And he's like, well, it just hurled King Shark half a mile in the other direction. And Deadshot's like, oh, God, what? No, I'm not doing this. What is wrong with you? So they bust out of the Luxor Hotel, because that's literally what it is, and start sliding down the side. apparently the reason that they're not affected by the hypnosis billboards is because Deadshot's using a mask, Harley Quinn's already crazy, and the unknown soldier has someone else's eyes. So that's weird, but regardless, they all start attacking this giant monster. Seems to be doing a decent amount of damage to it. They're blowing up with bazookas and stuff. We see King Shark is nibbling at its like ankle, trying to bite through it, and just like, okay, well, someone should tell him that's not going to work. You can't bite through his Achilles tendon. So we start seeing clips that we saw in the previous 2 issues, particularly Deadshot getting caught and telling Cheetah, like, help me out, Cheetah. Cheetah's like, nah, I don't think so. And Deadshot calls him like, Waller, Cheetah said she wouldn't help me. She's going to let me die. And Waller's like, come on, team. Like, don't let Deadshot die. That's kind of important. And Gordon Jr. tells King Shark, hey, you're not really doing anything trying to chew through its tendon. It's just a mass of bodies. And King Shark is like, I'm not trying to chew through its tendon. I'm trying to chew off its foot. And so he bites the whole way through and knocks off the giant foot. We see that it starts to lose its balance. It's about to crash into a building. And they're all like, okay, well, it's going to crash into a building. There's a lot of people in there. We can't let that happen. So they start blowing it up a little bit more. Deadshot thinks that he's going to get killed again because he's just found out that he's been revived several times. And he's like, oh, guys, please don't let me die again. It hurts like a bitch. So they all start blowing this thing up. It keeps making its way closer to the Luxor Hotel until finally King Shark throws a car through it, as far as I can tell, and it finally collapses to the ground. And Waller's looking pleased with herself, and Gordon Jr.'s like, you know, I suspect it was moving towards the light, possibly because the souls of the suicide victims inside were trying to move on to the afterlife. They were moving towards the thing that looked like a beam into heaven. And Waller's like, what in the hell are you talking about? And he's like, I don't know. Also, they were anarchists, so maybe they just didn't like the fact that it was a capitalist just item sitting there in the middle of Las Vegas. I don't know. Who knows? So at that point, a bunch of scientists enter the room and they're like, hey, Waller, last issue we were doing some experiments with the reviving stuff on Voltaic, and he kind of blew up. And we did some more experiments, and we realized that the Samsara serum that brings people back to life is only temporary, and it will result in the death of anyone who comes in contact with it, which includes Deadshot and also includes you. So Waller apparently was revived at some point, or at least touched the serum. So interested in that. See how that turns out. I mean, I'm down. This was just a fun little issue. It was just a completely, going back to the first arc of this book where there was just crazy off-the-wall adventure. This was a giant monster rampaging through Vegas, and they just had to take it out. It was fun. It's setting up a nice little thing for the next arc of, Deadshot's going to die again, along with Waller this time, so that's fresh. But, it's a new team, new stuff going on. I'm interested. So I'll give this one mostly for the humor, I'm going to give it a 7.5. Otherwise, it probably would have just gotten like a 7 or maybe even a 6.5. But it was a funny read. It had some good moments to it. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens with this Suicide Squad moving forward.